E dando continuidade, então, convidamos ao palco a senhora Gay Penfold, gerente do Centro de Inovação da Indústria Joalheira da Universidade de Birmingham, Reino Unido, para a palestra Novos avanços tecnológicos para o setor de joias e bijuterias, incluindo os possíveis impactos do uso em larga escala das impressoras 3D.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you today. This is a fantastic opportunity. I have been so looked after while I've been here in Brazil. I've seen so many companies, some schools, and I've talked to people who are passionate about Brazil, and they are passionate about your industry. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you. A little bit about my centre. I am the centre manager of the Jewellery Industry Innovation Centre, which is part of the School of Jewellery, Birmingham City University. The Innovation Centre was set up in 1997 to work with industry to assist them in identifying appropriate new technologies and training for those new technologies. So the first technologies that we considered were laser welding and 3D CAD and rapid prototyping. And we have been developing our expertise in this area ever since 1997. So today I'm going to give you a presentation about some of the new advances in technology that are appropriate to our industry. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about some of my observations whilst I've been in Brazil, some of the opportunities for your industry. And I will be very happy to take questions at the end. So, let's go. Okay. The last 2 decades, the last 20 years, have seen phenomenal changes in jewellery manufacture, particularly digital. There's been lots of change and they've been very quick. But now these technologies are established in our industry. Everybody uses rapid prototyping or they know about it. Everybody uses 3D CAD software or they know about it and want to learn. I'm going to talk a little bit from my observations how the jewellery industry has taken the bits they need, adapted them to suit their purposes, and how they've capitalised on these new advances. I'm going to talk about how rapid prototyping is evolving into rapid manufacturing, and I'm going to look at some recent developments of emerging additive manufacturing. I'm going to consider how people react to new technology and how they adopt it and change things to suit their needs. The lovely neck piece there is by a jeweller called Tom Rucker, who is German but lives in London, and that is a platinum and gold laser welded neck piece. So a little bit about the UK industry. We are also classed as a creative industry. We can contribute over 60 billion pounds a year to the UK economy. Creative industries are important in the UK as they are here. We're split into sections like manufacturers, retailers, designer makers, tool and equipment suppliers, gemstone dealers and suppliers there. Although we have companies across the UK, the 2 major centres are Birmingham and London. And trust me, Birmingham is bigger than London. So the main manufacturing processes used are wax casting, lost wax casting and stamping. And sometimes people refer to this as light engineering. But we've been very clever in the jewellery industry. We've taken the bits that suit us from other industries and we've adapted them. So sometimes we haven't created specific new jewellery equipment from scratch. We've just taken something from somewhere else and adapted it. An example of this is the way we've utilised in dental industry advancements. So the image on this side is the School of Jewellery. The other side was a photograph I took in a dental laboratory. A lot of the processes are the same. We take what we need. That's the innovation. The combined introduction of 3D CAD softwares, CAM and RP, computer-aided manufacture, laser welding, laser marking, laser cutting, has offered companies a new opportunities for the first time in years. So the last 20 years have been very significant for us as an industry. Design and designers are vital. They are a crucial part of this process. They're willing to explore. By nature, they have inquiring minds. They ask questions. They want to know. And the technology and the manufacturing processes aid the designer in their creative process. The more they understand about the manufacturing processes and how they work, the better a designer they are, in my opinion. They also are useful to get a two-way relationship with customers, and that is very significant. The first technology I want to look at, which is fairly recent, is microsetting. This is where you can see the image, the lady looking into the microscope, where you set multiple small stones. This is not applicable to fashion jewellery, but to precious metal jewellery. When I was in Guapare, I saw people doing stone-in-place wax casting, so putting the stones in the wax. This is stones into metal, into precious metal. And because there is high magnification and it's a very clean process, it's very good for settings which become barely visible, so really small, well set. And according to the people who use the process and teach the process, the stones are more secure in this setting than if done by hand. So it lends itself to costume and fine jewellery, to crystals and sapphires and amethysts, as well as diamonds. And it enables designers to create the look of bigger stones at much smaller cost. And there is an example of a UK designer, Jessica Poole, and her ring, which is 18 karat gold, pavé set. There's 140 diamonds set in that ring using micro-setting. Computer-aided design, in the companies that I have visited, lots of people are using already. Probably the two most popular programs, Rhino, GenVision Matrix, used for new product creation, to modify designs, to analyse something, and to optimise the opportunities for design. And increasingly, it's used as a first step. So in the UK, we try to teach our students to design in CAD straight away, not using a pencil first and then sending it to a CAD designer. So the ones that we especially use, generally, JewelCAD, Rhino, ArtCam, GenVision Matrix, and for some things, SolidWorks. The image on the screen was created by one of my team, and it is of a historical candlestick from the 18th century. So, rapid prototyping now is used extensively. It enables cost savings in design and samples, reduced lead times, quicker decision making, and also very useful when design changes are required. It's increased the potential of complex design solutions, the ability, once you understand CAD, to create really fantastic, inspirational, innovative pieces is increased. You can integrate the design with the customer requirements. So you could work with a customer and you can show them your screen and you can discuss the changes that they need to make. You can get the design right. We did a survey recently of companies. We asked our contacts, 380 people, do you use 3D CAD? 210 out of 380, yes. Over 55% of companies now using CAD, 3D CAD programs. And growing. Laser marking and cutting. We use laser marking. I've seen this while I've been in Brazil. We also use this process at home. We use it for assay as well. This is something that you don't have in Brazil at the moment. This is where the quality of the metal is marked. It's marked with the letter, the initials of the assay office, so BAO, Birmingham Assay Office, the mark of the maker or the company, the year that it was made, and also the quality of the metal. So silver would be 925. So the assay offices in the UK use laser marking for hallmarking. But it can also be used quite creatively for things like paper, acrylic, wood, leather. And the increased demand for personalised jewellery means you can use laser marking to personalise jewellery also. And so some designers have exploited this process, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples. So this is paper jewellery by an ex-student of the School of Jewellery who now has her own company, Sarah Ann Kelly. She also teaches some part-time classes at the school, and she sells her work in the National Portrait Gallery in London. This is some perspex jewellery with a metal chain added by a company called Tati Divine. Big in the UK, they have machines in stores. The customer goes up, chooses the style they want, and they cut it for them in front of them. To talk a little bit about rapid prototyping. This beautiful pen was designed by one of our alumni, one of our ex-students, Jack Rowe. This pen is £27,000 in Harrods. I don't have one. The body of the pen is made in silver. The case of the pen, the inspiration was from the Gherkin building in London. And that is gold, 18-karat gold, set with sapphires. And there are matching cufflinks as well. Rapid prototyping is the name given to a whole host of technologies that make physical objects from CAD data. It bonds materials in layers to make objects. And we call the systems many names. We call it additive fabrication, three-dimensional printing, solid freeform fabrication, and layered manufacturing. We've had discussions about terminology whilst I've been here. Overall, 3D printing is anything that prints in layers, whether it's resin or wax. Yeah, 3D printing. It makes something three-dimensional. This is an example from another of our alumni, a Chinese student called Fei, who has his business in Birmingham, but he sells to China. So he sells luxury product to China. And you can see by using CAD here, he used the same design, but once it's set with different stones or it's cast in a different metal, you get a totally different look. Very innovative. Okay, the one that's causing all the excitement all over the world. The press can't get enough of this. You've seen it with horror stories about people printing their own guns and rubbish like that. Additive manufacturing. It's the term given to the production of an end use or series of component parts that have been made using additive layer manufacturing technologies. It's different from rapid prototyping because it prints in metal. When you do rapid prototyping, it's a resin, it's a prototype. You have another process to follow after, yeah? This is different. Referred to sometimes as direct metal laser melting and/or additive manufacture, because it is actually making something. It isn't a prototype, it's actually manufacturing, or sometimes it's called rapid manufacturing. It's sometimes described as a novel, disruptive, enabling technology. This is because it requires a different way of thinking. As designers, we have trained to design for the manufacturing processes we know. So it follows that the more you know about a manufacturing process, the better the designer you are. For this technology manufactures a design. It's a different way of thinking. It's used in aerospace and automotive industries, but now we can produce parts on systems for a whole variety of end-use applications. So the samples that are on this slide are from a company called Cookson Gold. Cookson are opposite the School of Jewellery. We have a very close relationship with the company, and we are working with them to promote this and forward this technology. So, within the jewellery industry, there is the potential to create items that look solid. But if you slice them down the middle, they would be hollow and maybe have a honeycomb structure inside. And the images here are by courtesy of Lego, an Italian company, whom we have also done European research projects. So start with the CAD image and you can see the support structures on the ring, which was designed by Beatrice Biaggi. The next one with the brush, you can see several rings on the build plate with the powder just being brushed off after the build. The next image is the loose powder removed and the rings on the plate. Then the next image is the ring taken off the plate with the support structures removed, and the very last image is of the ring highly polished. Also being used for watch cases. And there's the green picture at the bottom actually shows the process as it is happening. So that's a laser beam. I don't know why it turns green. No idea. It's gold powder in there. It wasn't green, but that's what happens with it. You have to take the photograph from behind a protective screen. So for a designer, it offers a lot of potential. And you can see again here the pens designed by Jack. This is a different design, and these are titanium, and they have been produced using additive manufacturing, direct metal laser melting, and then anodized different colours. So this is another product range for him. On the left-hand side is some pendants by a designer called Lionel Dean. If you look very closely, you will see that although they are the same shape, within each of those there is individuality. Each one is very, very slightly different. So as a designer, Lionel created the parameters and then within that allowed some freedom for individualization. This is, not everybody's got this yet. We know of about 3 machines in Europe that are looking specifically at gold. But it's the people who are the innovators, the early adopters, who are the driving force to solve the problems. There are some problems. As with every new technology, it doesn't seamlessly slip into the process of the manufacturing within the company. Always we need to look at processes, evaluate them, undertake further research. But the opportunities are great because we already know about 3D CAD. We already know about rapid prototyping. These are embedded within our industry. So it's not such a big jump for us to understand this new process. We've also, in the UK, and I think here also, a close relationship with the designer and the customer, which means you have got the potential for different design methodologies and, of course, no need for tooling. Some of the problems are surface finishing. When rapid prototyping first came, people were upset about the layers. They thought it wasn't good enough. The same sort of problems here. The layers are too rigid, too much surface finishing. So surface finishing is an issue. We need to do further research. We also need to think about how to remove the supports as well. But there's a huge cost saving because you only use the metal powder you need. And the rest of the powder stays in the machine. And all of us are the victims of high metal prices. And these are fluctuating all the time. That's a strong consideration. Because we are part of a university, we undertake research. We are currently a partner in a UK government research project looking at how this new technology can be taken up by the jewellery industry. We are 5 partners. We are a CAD company, a company who have the machine, a university, a surface finishing company, and a designer. It's a small consortium who are collectively researching the issues around the uptake of this technology. And our mission is to bring the process for precious metal jewellery to full commercial maturity. We only have 2 years to do this, by the way. We are 9 months in, so we have to work very hard. The website is there. So there are some adoption issues for this new technology also. CAD, not quite, it needs to move forward a bit. We need to work with the CAD software programmers to develop programs that suit this new technology. And for some designers, it can be difficult to accept the change in mindset. Instead of designing for manufacturing a design. Sometimes it's hard for people to get their head around that. This is an image from Faye, who was a DFI, Design for Industry student. This is a render of a ring. The students in the Design for Industry course have been studying a laser sintering module for 3 years now. For technology within the jewellery industry, technology is part of our processes. Technology isn't a standalone magical thing that solves all the problems if we wave a magic wand. It's how we use the technology, how we apply it within the processes that we use, whether we need it or not. Do we need to have the best and the latest machine if nobody knows how to work it or how to get the best out of it? Yeah? Technology is a tool. Design for us is vital. Without new products and exciting new designs, we can all go home. We have to create wonderful new products, and design is key to this. Aesthetics of the product is critical. Customers have lots of ways to spend their money. Why would they buy jewellery? They have to be persuaded to buy jewellery. And manufacturing well-designed, unique products, it's intensive, it's expensive, and it's a very consumer-centred process. We all have commercial pressures to reduce cost, remain competitive, retain design quality, and the challenges within the industry are to find ever new ways, more innovative manufacturing techniques, new production approaches that maintain our competitive edge. Just want to say that the neck piece is designed by the head of school, Gaynor Andrews, and that was using a combination of titanium, anodized titanium, additive manufacturing, gold, and I think amethysts. New processes offer us new opportunities. On the one side, just as an example, I put the lost wax casting process. So you can see you go from model making, rubber mold making, wax item making, tree assembly, pre-melting, flask, cast, scrap, semi-product, yeah. And on the other side, the additive manufacturing or direct metal laser melting process. Design, CAD. Fill the machine with powder. Build the item. Recycle the unprocessed powder. Unload the machine. Take the build off the plate. Finish it, polish it, quality control. Two images there of our school. The old black and white one. Our school was set up in 1890 at the request of the British Jewellers Association. We have always worked closely with our association, as you do here. The colour photograph is the image of the interior of our school. It's a fantastic, fantastic facility for jewellery. So I hope I've given you an example today of how the changes in the last 20 years have been so fast, so quick, and about how we as clever people, because obviously all jewellery people are extremely clever, have taken the bits we like, adapted them, capitalised on them, and we're continually developing them. We are innovative people. We've embraced the technologies that suit us, and I hope we will continue to do so, otherwise we'll be in trouble. We've undertaken new learning to make sure that we exploit that technology creatively, to create new skills. Who would know 20 years ago that a 3D CAD designer was vital to the jewellery industry? Our industry is willing to explore, and it is willing to adapt technologies that support its activities and suit its needs. But we use technology. It depends on whether we can add sufficient value. Does it fit the required design manufacturing process? Can we save time? We don't need to use digital technologies across the board on everything, but they are used in conjunction with traditional skills and processes. The industry has embraced the technologies that suit it. CAD is another tool in the toolbox. The technologies are now viewed as challenges to the creative process, which are ripe for adaptation and implementation. They're not viewed as a threat anymore. I would like to thank the companies who kindly loaned me images for this presentation. I would also like to thank you for your kind attention. And also, Ecliton has asked me to give some opinions of my time in Brazil and the companies that I have visited. So I will turn this off. Okay, put the glasses on. Okay, some thoughts. Quality is not something you add in at the end of the process. Quality has to be in every single process, from design right the way through to the finished product. You can't get a good surface finish on something which is a rubbish casting. Everybody has to have quality in their heads at every stage of the process. If you put rubbish in, you get rubbish out. Innovation is a way of thinking. It's not an abstract concept. It is a way of thinking. I've seen a lot of strengths in this industry. I've seen very committed owner-managers with sound understanding of technology and processes. I've seen some superb creativity. I've seen very proactive associations who make it their job to listen and to act on what they hear. I've seen some weaknesses which are not unique to Brazil, because clearly we are in a global industry. Lack of education for retailers. Retailers are our front line. We have to educate them to tell the story to our customers. There's been, in some cases, a lack of communication between departments within companies. Departments are isolated. They should not be isolated. It is all part of the same process. Some staff in some companies don't seem to have an overview of the whole process. They only know their little bit, their action that they do. That's not good. They need to understand the whole journey that the product makes. You have some difficulty in getting, thank you, you have some difficulty getting parts and spares from some suppliers who charge you an arm and a leg for getting those parts to you, and they take too long doing it. You separate, this is again from my perspective a bit of a weakness, you separate design and CAD as two separate activities, not integrated. And there is a big sort of concentration on the low end, the fashion jewellery, and the high end, and there's not a lot of variance in between. But there are many opportunities. Creative people, Brazilians are creative people, use this to push the boundaries of design. A unique Brazilian product, something that says made in Brazil, designed in Brazil, made in Brazil. What is Brazilian style? Is it the gemstones, or is it the designs? Is it the products? That's a question. I had an idea that you could perhaps create buying groups for parts and materials within the associations, perhaps, or the regions or the cities, because this will give you bargaining power. Because one person saying my part is too expensive and it's late won't have a big impression. 10 people going to the same supplier and saying my part is late and it's too expensive might have an impression. Worth a try. Share best practice. Talk to each other. You all have different products, but the processes are common. Plating is, everybody uses plating. Everybody uses rapid prototyping. Share best practice. You are only sharing a process, not your competitive edge. I had an idea that maybe you could have some technology events where people come to demonstrate equipment and explain how it works and let people try it before buying. Shared training courses. There are global opportunities for creative industries. In this world we live where it's so fast, so rapid, people want things that have meaning. People want things that are special to them. They will pay if they understand how significant and special something is. And what else? You have a lot of threats. Tax is dreadful for you. I'm very sorry for you. It's bad in the UK, but not as bad as here. There's a lack of middle management. Who is going to take the business forward? The MDs now are very good, they are very knowledgeable, but they have all this in their head and they have to run the business and look after the staff and look after the marketing. Who is going to help them? Who will be the production managers, the senior designers? Who will help grow the business? I think that's everything. But I am going to write a report when I get home in front of my computer, and I will present this to IBGM, who I thank very much for looking after me so well. And I thank you all for your very kind attention. Thank you.
Gay, primeiro de tudo, obrigado, parabéns pela sua apresentação. O que vocês fazem lá realmente é um sonho para a gente espera conseguir chegar. Talvez você está correndo, a gente tem que então participar de uma maratona para chegar junto com você. Eu gostaria que você explicasse um pouquinho mais, com mais detalhes, esse projeto Pre-Shows. Quem participa, quais são os players e exatamente quais são os produtos finais, se ele é para a sociedade, para o consumidor, para a indústria, para o varejo ou para todos.
Okay. Right. Is it on? Mm-hmm. The Precious project was a government department called the Technology Strategy Board, who are part of the UK Yeah, that's better. They are part of the UK Business Innovation and Skills Department. They have researchers who investigate what the latest technology is across all businesses in the UK. And then once they have identified a new emerging technology which will be of use to UK PLC, they publish a call for research projects. And so they published a call for high value added manufacturing. We as a university wrote the proposal for this. We sourced the partners. So the partners are us, Birmingham City University, Cookson Gold, Delcam Software, fintech, who are a finishing equipment company. And Lionel Dean, whose work you saw on my presentation, he is a designer who is very used to working in additive manufacturing. So we are only 5, and the project is 2 years, and we have a very defined work program which we wrote when we asked for the money. Yeah. So the funding is, for the university, we get 80% of the funding. For the companies, they get 50% of their costs. We have work packages, we have reports to write, we have quarterly meetings, we have monthly telephone meetings, and we meet regularly to share our research. And at the end of 2 years, we will have a big dissemination event, so we share the results of our research with the industry. I hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Mais alguma pergunta?
Bom dia, Gay. É um prazer tê-la conosco. Você tocou um pouco das fragilidades da nossa indústria, a questão de gestão, a questão de integração das várias fases, compartilhamento das informações. E, num certo momento, você tocou numa coisa importante que a gente vem discutindo há longo tempo, que é a questão do desenvolvimento de um estilo, de um conceito, ou de uma joia com características brasileiras. Como é que o governo do Reino Unido tem trabalhado na questão do posicionamento da joia do Reino Unido, da joia britânica, no contexto mundial, de extrema competição com a China, a Índia e dos mercados maduros como a Itália e a Alemanha?
I'm not sure that it does. It's obviously we have a British Jewellers Association, which represents us in the same way that your representative does. We have some good members of Parliament in Birmingham who understand how important the jewellery industry is to the region and how it generates a lot of income for the country. But I don't. The creative industries, they have figures on. But the jewellery industry on its own, we rely on the figures from the assay offices because they keep a record of the number of items that they hallmark and in the different materials. So we can see how things are moving up. For example, you know, over the last 10 years, platinum has become much more popular. We can see year on year the rise and those sort of statistics. But the government tend to take creative industries as a whole. And it's a problem for us because we don't have a specific data to chuck in the faces of people who we want to influence. Having the right facts and figures, as in the earlier presentation, is key. It is an important economy. It generates a lot of wealth for the country. You have to talk to people in terms of money. Yeah. And I think the UK government understands creative industries very well, but they probably tend to think about film, other areas first. We have to shout. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
Bom dia, Gay. É um privilégio ter você aqui com a gente. Muito obrigada pela sua simpatia, pela sua generosidade em dividir o seu conhecimento. Você falou, visitando, que após a visita às nossas indústrias, uma das fragilidades, uma das coisas a comentar seria a falta de integração entre o design e o CAD. Na Inglaterra, vocês já conseguiram superar, porque é comum aqui nas nossas empresas, a designer ainda não dominar o CAD e ela ter ao lado dela o menino do CAD, né, que é aquele rapaz que domina as tecnologias e que não necessariamente é um joalheiro. Queria que você elaborasse um pouco sobre isso e como é que vocês conseguiram superar isso na Inglaterra. Se é que vocês já superaram também.
Okay. We all know that we live in a global economy where 2-year-olds play with iPads. We have a new generation coming up who just take for granted the fact that they can email people, play games, etc., etc. We started teaching CAD in the School of Jewellery back in 1997. 3D CAD, different softwares, because we don't think the two processes should be separated. My senior CAD designer said, you can teach a jewellery designer how to use CAD, but it is much more difficult to teach a CAD designer how to be a jewellery designer. For me, the two go hand in hand. For me, it isn't to be able to use CAD does not lessen the creativity. It should increase it. And so most of the courses that we do at the school involve 3D CAD training. We do 3D CAD training for industry, and we do 3D CAD short courses for industry in the summer as well. I don't think the two can be separated. On our BA Design for Industry course, the students are given a laptop on the first day, and every project is designed using CAD. And we have an ex-student here today, Fernanda. She is here. She recently graduated from the Design for Industry course, and she lives in Rio. So please ask her questions how it was for her. Thank you.
Gay, eu gostaria que você, por gentileza, me falasse qual é o modelo de integração entre a escola e a indústria e como esses novos processos de novas tecnologias são disseminados a partir da escola junto à indústria.
Okay, thank you. There are a variety of methods. First of all, we have always opened our doors to industry. So we use the building for seminars, for technology awareness events, presentations. We invite the industry to our degree and diploma shows for the student work. We ask the industry to do competitions with our students. So, for example, a manufacturing company will set a design brief on an annual basis for one of the courses. All the students make a design, 3 winners, first, second, third prize. Another competition where the manufacturer, the prize is a week's work within the company. So initiatives like this. At the Innovation Centre, we are always going to technology shows in the UK and also abroad. We go to symposia like Santa Fe Symposia, TCT, we go to jewellery trade fairs. We network, we talk, we listen, we encourage an open door possibility. It's about building relationships. You don't build relationships overnight. It takes time, and it is a variety of initiatives all directed towards the same goal, which is collaboration. Collaboration. I think, oh yeah, short courses. We have apprentices, short courses, summer schools. So if a company comes to us and says, I have 6 employees who desperately need a mould cutting course, we will organise this. We will organise this. So you have to have the dialogue. And we don't know what we're going to be asked next. We don't know what the next problem for somebody might be. But without that basis of understanding, you won't go anywhere. The school is part of the jewellery quarter. We are not a separate institution with closed doors. We have staff who have worked in the industry and who do work in the industry, staff who have their own business or staff who have worked in business. It's very important. I hope that answered. Yeah, thank you.
Bom dia, Gay. É um prazer enorme recebê-la hoje aqui. E eu gostaria de saber, é um gargalo grande essa questão da educação, da qualificação e da atualização daqueles que já estão empregados na indústria hoje, que não estão apresentados a essa tecnologia. E a gente tem a missão aí, nós aqui, o Senai, de colocar, né, de abrir essa porta, esse caminho para essa qualificação. Um dos entraves, né, que eu costumo observar na indústria, e nós temos aqui hoje vários representantes, é o grau de formação desses profissionais que estão hoje na indústria. Muitos deles com baixo grau de escolaridade e uma dificuldade enorme de acesso a essas novas, esse novo entendimento, né, essa tecnologia de desenho 3D, a própria tecnologia de prototipagem em si, e isso é realmente uma dificuldade. Eu gostaria que você me relatasse a experiência de vocês lá e uma maneira, um caminho, uma forma que vocês administram essa dificuldade.
I know that from the schools that I have seen, that the training tends to be at a bench process level. So there is 1,600 hours of a foundation of the different processes. And then there are design degrees, but I don't think there is anything in the middle. And this is a huge gap for you to address. And the only way that this can be done is with the cooperation of owner managers and staff who have the hunger to learn. And then for courses which suit the industry, courses that are in a week, courses that are in the evening, courses that are at a weekend, those sort of courses which offer the option for people to be able to stay in work but also to improve. It's a jigsaw of training, not one solution. When we started with CAD at the Innovation Centre, as an example, we had every Wednesday night, we had open doors, and there were 8 computers, and once the seats were full, that was it. And every Wednesday night, people came just to play, to practice, to use the software, to become familiar with it. And that's how they learnt. We have courses that are beginners, intermediate, advanced, masterclass, the range, so that people can see that there are more opportunities. We never stop learning. As people, we never stop learning. We should not restrict other people from learning more. it will help our industry to grow. Okay.
Thank you.
Mais alguma pergunta? Não? Thank you, Mrs. Guy. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Very much indeed. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.